We've tracked $1.4 million in revenue from AI search this year in 2026 across 12 different local service businesses. Without any paid ads, no paid leads, all of them were just recommended by Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Google's Gemini. The first client we ran this on was a roofer who had $120,000 in attributed revenue inside just 90 days. I thought it had to be a fluke, so we ran it on 2 more clients, a plumber and an electrician, the next month, and they got a pretty similar result. By month 6, it was running across all 12 of those different clients in restoration, plumbing, HVAC, electrical, remodeling, you name it. They're all using the exact 4-step sequence in this exact order, because 2 to 3 years from now, AI search is going to handle roughly 30 to 50% of find me or local plumber or best HVAC company near me searches. And that's not a prediction. It's already started. Google was already rolling out and testing having AI recommend and replace maps. And 5 to 15% of those searches in major metros are already going through GPT or Perplexity this year. And the businesses that are going to show up first in those AI responses are pulling work that used to go to whoever ranked first on Google Maps. Here's the trick. AI works differently from Google. Instead of ranking, AI retrieves. It pulls every mention of your business it can find across the internet. So if your business has, 20 mentions spread across Reddit, Google Maps, the Better Business Bureau, press releases, competitor Q&As, blog pages, AI is going to see you everywhere and choose and retrieve you. If all you've got is a website, maybe a Google business profile, it's not going to have enough to support recommending you to all of the people that are looking for what it is you do. So let's start with step 1. Before you write a single piece of content, or you send a single press release out, or you touch a single Reddit thread, you need to decide exactly what you want AI to recommend you for. This sounds pretty obvious, but most businesses that we talk to want to rank for everything, right? And what happens is they end up ranking for random searches that just bring in tire kickers that waste the admin team's time just price shopping. You want 10 to 15 really high quality terms to be recommended for, rather than 100 random things that just get spam calls. The way to figure out which ones are the value keywords you want to target and what are the time wasters and tire kickers is all just 15 minutes of work. Now, the way to figure out which keywords are the money makers and which bring in the tire kickers is our keyword bucket method. Let's take 2 buckets. The first bucket is what we call nurture. This is where we put in broad questions that somebody who's not ready to buy right now, but is going to buy in a month or 2 months, is searching. A couple examples could be, how does a tankless water heater work? Or, well, what's the difference between tank and tankless water heaters? These aren't going to drive calls this week, but they're going to keep you top of mind when a buyer is still figuring out what they want. It's not really stuff that's going to get a call today, but it's useful for brand recognition, and over time, they will eventually give you a call. The second bucket is for conversions. These are the questions that buyers are actively looking for right now when they're ready to pick up the phone and spend some money. These are things like best plumber in Houston, or how long does a whole home filtration install take in Phoenix? Or what's the cost of emergency drain unblocking in Brisbane? Whoever gets mentioned or retrieved when those questions are asked gets the call right away, and that's where the money comes from. Now, the trick is you need to fill in both buckets. And here's how to build the phrase list. Open up Google right now and type your broad service term in. Let's say water heater replacement, and hit search. About 3 to 5 results down, you'll see what's called a people also asked section. This is a drop down with some of the most commonly asked questions related to your main service you just searched for. Google thinks these are connected to what it is that you just mentioned, and if you click each one of those, it's usually going to give you 4 or 5 questions underneath. All you want to do is pull an initial list of 20 into a doc with some of the exact phrasing and how people also asked presented them. Once you've got your list of 20 terms, you want to drop them into a keyword tool. SEMrush or Ahrefs or even Google Keyword Planner, if you don't have any of those subscriptions, will all work fine for this. What you want to do is you just want to find out how many people are actually searching for these 20 questions that I've listed out. We normally filter out anything that is 30 searches or below, unless the job is high ticket like a roof replacement or a restoration. By now you should have roughly 20 phrases, and you're going to want to read each one of them and ask, is the person that is typing this learning or doing research, or are they looking for this because they're ready to make a call and buy? How long does a hot water heater replacement take is going to be in the mix of conversion and nurture, so you can choose. Spend a good 10-15 minutes to actually think about what bucket should this fit into, and pick some really solid terms that you know are going to bring you an extra 10,000, 20, 30,000 if AI actually recommended them. Great, so now we know what terms it is we actually want to rank for. Now we just need to figure out how do we get recommended by them. And surprisingly, AI is a little bit of a black box, but it is easier than you think. Here's what you have to do. Open up ChatGPT, turn on incognito mode so that none of your previous chats are interfering with your research. Make sure that it's a blank slate. Take your filtered list from your document and one at a time, just copy and paste that question and put it into ChatGPT. Don't batch them, just one at a time. As each answer comes back, scroll down past the generic response and look right at the sources. ChatGPT is going to show you a list of numbered citation links. Those are the URLs that GPT or any AI is pulling from and the reason it's deciding to recommend something. What you then want to do is you want to create a spreadsheet and you want to log all of those citations inside of a spreadsheet. Your spreadsheet should have 4 columns. The phrase you search for, the URL that was recommended, the platform it came from, Reddit, Better Business Bureau, Yelp, Google Maps, YouTube, a competitor site, whatever it might be, and roughly where it ranked in the response. Was it number 1? Was it 2? Was it 3? And don't just log the exact URL. So if Reddit is mentioned, don't just mention reddit.com, grab the exact Reddit thread and the exact discussion that was mentioned. The reason for this is because on these pages, ChatGPT, Claude, whatever, is going to be pulling a specific phrase from that link. And that phrase might be from a paragraph buried mid-page. Sometimes it might be a single comment in a 40-comment Reddit thread. Where the quote sits on the page matters. You need to make sure you're logging the exact page. If every Reddit comment ChatGPT cites is highly upvoted and high in the thread, that tells you that upvotes is probably a pretty high priority thing for what ChatGPT is looking for. And if every Better Business Bureau profile has 200 plus reviews and a complete description, that tells you what threshold makes a profile get recommended. For every phrase where GPT cited a Google Maps listing, you can also ask a follow-up. Type something like, why did you pick that business specifically? What signals on the profile led you to recommend them over alternatives? ChatGPT is pretty much just going to tell you the answer. It's going to say something like, well, this business has 312 reviews, the average rating is 4.8, their 10 reviews mention emergency same-day service, the business description, specify if they do tankless water heater installs, the service list includes heater replacement, whatever it might be, it's going to give you a big long list. And that can act as your actual checklist for what you need to update on your Google Maps to get recommended by GPT. Every signal on a profile, every signal in a paragraph, that becomes a column in your spreadsheet so that you can actually test what needs to be done to be recommended for this search term. After doing this for all 20 of the main search terms you want to rank for, you should have a full spreadsheet. The first is your gap list. You'll see the name of 5 or 6 domains repeating across the answers. That might be a competitor, that might be Reddit, that might be YouTube. It varies case by case. For most local service businesses, what we find is it's typically going to be a competitor's blog, Reddit, Google Maps, and any directory aggregators or press releases. The mix does shift a bit depending on what bucket you're in, if you're nurturing, or if you're conversion. And whatever that mix looks like, that's the platform list that you need to start being floated in across those platforms. And that moves us to step 3, which is floating. What floating is pretty much getting your business name mentioned across as many different sources as possible. The way this works is that when ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini dives into the pool of information to look for an answer, it sees you mentioned in 4, 5, 6 different areas floating around, rather than just the same person 1 or 2 times. Right, you want to identify how many different sources you need to be floated in, which is why we do the audit in step 2, so that you know where you need to be floated and how many times. The most common channels I mentioned above is press releases, Reddit, etc. So let's start with number 1, which is press releases. Press releases can be where a pretty good amount of the volume comes from. One press release, properly distributed, lands your business name on 50 to 200 index news sites. If you run 6 of these over 2 months, 1 every 10 days, you'll have your business name indexed across roughly 300 to 1,200 placements, tied to 6 core topics from your audit list. For each release, you can address the topics and locations you found in your nurture and conversation buckets. Over time, you'll end up building this kind of citation footprint that most local businesses don't even know they need. Here's how each release runs. Pick one phrase from your filtered list, ideally something that's going to be pretty high value for you, or something that other press releases we're getting mentioned on. Let's say, what size hot water heater does a family of 4 need in Sacramento? Write a press release with that question as the headline, pretty much word for word. Don't put your business name in the headline, put what people are actually looking for. ChatGPT and other AI engines are going to match that headline phrasing when they're deciding what articles to reference, and they're going to know this is super relevant to what the user is searching. The body of the press release should answer the questions in 400 to 600 words, and in the first sentence have a super direct and to the point answer, then unpack the variables, household size, simultaneous fixture use, gas versus electric, cost difference, install timeline. If you do all of these and then mention your business at the end, your business is going to get mentioned as the expert source providing all of this guidance that AI is pulling from. Once you've got your press release, you want to push it through a distribution wire. We typically use EIN press wire because it's been the most consistent for getting the 50 to 200 placement range across those news sites and aggregators. The pricing tier you want is around $200 per release. PR Newswire, Business Wire work too. They reach more major news outlets, but the cost is a lot more. So for AI search, you don't need to go into all of that. You can pretty much get it from the $200 release. The way distribution wires work is you submit the release and they syndicate it to a network of news domains that automatically publish those, tied to your trade and your metro. Most placements show up within 48 hours of a submission. A week after each release goes live, you'll want to just verify it using the index method. All you want to do for this is just put quotation marks, your business name, plus the topic that you wrote your press release about, and that'll tell you if they've been indexed or not. If fewer than 30 are showing up, you may need to run another release. Now, channel 2 is Reddit threads. This is where most citations share the heaviest amount for service businesses. From phase 2, you should have a list of all of the different threads that you're mentioned in. Take that list and open up each of those threads one by one. Then either yourself or one of your team should go into that thread and engage with it directly. Respond to a few comments here and there, just weigh in your opinion, reply, agree, disagree, go back and forth so it looks natural. We typically do tend to do this for all of our clients, and not only do we see a decent increase in ranking for AI, but we also see some of these result in leads coming through. Again, the reply rules need to be pretty tight. They should be thorough and specific, 200 to 400 words max, and you should lead with direct answers to whatever the original poster or the comment you're replying to spoke about. Structure it like you would send a text. Be casual, don't be too direct. The best thing to do is also mention your metro, so the area you're in, and you can mention your business name naturally if you want to. You should structure these responses like you're sending a text message. The one thing to note is you do want to make sure you mention your metro, the city you want to rank in, and you do need to mention your business name. It shouldn't be forced, it should come across natural. Don't make it sound like a pitch. Just say that, hey, I work at XYZ company, this is what we do, yada, yada, yada. That'll help it come across a lot more natural, and you can encourage replies. Make sure you get 5 or 6 upvotes on the thread, and Google is going to start crawling that and start citing that AI response because you've overridden and provided more value than what the previous cited mention was. Once you've gone ahead and replied to all of the threads that were in your shortlist, go ahead and look for some more. Go and search Reddit for something related to tankless water heaters or related to Chicago or plumbing in Chicago. Whatever it is, sort by the ones that are most recent, have the most engagement, and then just go and drop some replies there. The more flotation you can get, the better. Channel 3 is going to be your citations and directory listings. Citations are entries about your business across major sites. Yelp, Better Business Bureau, Angie's, Yellow Pages, Foursquare, Apple Maps. There's a bunch of them. These are the sources that ChatGPT pulls from to verify a business exists. It's the same thing Google uses. Most businesses have a few of these set up, usually the obvious ones like Yelp and BBB. The fix for this is you want to get a citation pack. Now I will make note that citations only really work for some of your more conversion bucket keywords. The nurturing stuff we'll be talking about in step 4. Once you know what conversion buckets you want to target, you can go ahead and get that citation pack I mentioned earlier. You can use tools like BrightLocal or Yext to handle the submissions. It's going to be roughly $100 to $200, and you're going to get 50 consistent citations across the major directories with your name, address, phone number, the services, and photos of your business. They're all submitted in 5 to 14 days. Every citation is going to mention some of the services that you target, which is directly going to tie back to those conversion bucket keywords. One thing to note is you do want to make sure that your citations are consistent. If one directory lists ABC Plumbing Ltd and the other lists ABC Plumbing Plumber Dallas, you're going to have some incongruency there, and you're artificially creating competition for the other businesses that are floating against you. Channel 4 is YouTube. GPT and all the other AI engines pull from YouTube heavily when they're answering local service questions. And the advantage of YouTube is nobody in local service business is doing it. It's a blue ocean. The issue is it's just a little bit more work than all of the others. The move is pretty simple. Take your keyword buckets, nurture or conversion, doesn't matter, and record a short video. 3 to 5 minutes is fine. for each of the questions you want to answer. The title should be the exact question or exact keyword. In a description, open up everything you spoke about and just record a generic video and upload it to your business channel. The transcript is going to be auto-generated by YouTube and it gets indexed against search. It doesn't have to be polished. You can just do a generic video of you talking to your camera in your shop or in the van directly about your keywords. The point is that the content exists on YouTube under your business name, indexed with the exact phrases that we know people are already searching for step 2, that people are typing into GPT, and on a source that none of your competitors are on. After 10 or 15 of these videos, your channel is going to be another source that gets floated in the pool that AI uses for your trade in your metro. If you compound this for a few months and you've got press releases, 15 to 20 Reddit replies, 50 consistent citations, the major directories, and 10 to 15 YouTube shorts indexed with all of the phrases you want to target, your business will have so many different flotations across the pool that GPT, Claude, Gemini is crawling daily. Now, step 4 is your own website. This is the part that a lot of businesses kind of just forget about. ChatGPT doesn't just look at directories or citations, it looks at every possible source that might have an answer. And your website can easily be one of those sources and is a very easy low-hanging fruit. The trick with this is just simply overhauling your blog posts. We use the same playbook to rank a client for literally the keyword plumber nationwide. So here's what you want to do. Go ahead and create a new blog article on your website. Get GPT or Claude to write you a super basic article, but it just needs to follow these core things and should be structured exactly like I'm about to go and talk about. Open your page with the headline at the top. This is going to be the exact buyer phrase and should be your H1. Word for word. So something like, what size hot water heater does a family of 4 need in Sacramento? Question mark and all. ChatGPT is going to match that against literal phrasing in the headers and it's going to give a very clear signal that that's what this page is about. Don't paraphrase it. Now the trick is you want to start answering the questions in as quickly into the article as you can. Don't worry about burying it 6 paragraphs deep, but answer it in the first sentence. The reason for this is because engines don't want to spend a whole lot of resources looking through a page and reviewing an article if they don't think it's relevant. So we need to show that it's relevant as quickly as possible. So the first sentence, directly underneath the headline, in plain language, a family of 4 typically needs a 50-gallon tank or a tankless model rated at 7 to 9 gallons per minute. That single sentence is what is going to get quoted and give your article the proof it needs that this is going to answer the question. So make it precise. Underneath that answer, a short bulleted list of all the variables that change the answer. Number of bathrooms, simultaneous fixture use, gas versus electric, regional climate, whatever it is. Go into all the detail relating to the question. Below the bullet points, a small comparison table with 3 rows and 3 columns. Tank size or tankless, GPM rating in column 1, household size range in column 2, install cost range in column 3. AI lifts these tables and reformats them directly into the answers. Sometimes quoting them verbatim. A good table on a page can outperform a 2,000-word article going into extreme detail. The meta description is going to get rewritten, so don't even worry about that. AI barely looks at it. Underneath that, you'll want to go in and have header 2s or H2s that talk about supporting content for the topic and just back up, you know what you're talking about. I've attached a prompt on screen now. Feel free to pause the video, take a screenshot and upload this into Claude or GPT. You want to use 1 topic per page, which means 1 URL per phrase from your filtered list. 5 services or 5 keywords crammed into a single URL are going to get ignored because it's too much resource used by GPT or AI to go and extract and find the relevant information. If you've got a backlog of existing pages on your site, order them with the same template that we just went above. Old ultimate guide pages that bury the answer in paragraph 8 are going to rank terribly in AI. So make sure you're sprucing them up with this new format, making it easy for AI to extract the answer very quickly without extending a lot of resources and compute. I mentioned the plumbing client we used this on earlier. By week 9 of using this, ChatGPT was citing him for everything. AI overviews were surfacing the business for queries like plumber, hot water heater, gas fitter, emergency plumber, super broad keywords that had thousands of searches a month, and his calls shot up to 300 plus. AI search is moving quick, and the exact checklist GPT uses to pick citations is going to shift. sometimes monthly, sometimes weekly. But the 4 steps throughout this video are going to stay stable even with all of those changes, because they're getting in front of all the areas that AI platforms look for across all of the internet. Like I mentioned at the start of this video, for the 12 clients that we've ran this playbook on this year, that has converted into $1.4 million in attributed revenue with 0 ads and 0 paid leads with any kind. Now, if you're a local service business doing above $50,000 a month and you'd rather have us run this exact playbook for you, including the keyword sort, the citation audit, the Reddit mentions, the map signals, yada, 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 feel free to book a call below and one of the team can get in touch and assist. Otherwise, get cracking on this, because getting your AI ranking sorted is going to future-proof your business and help a ton as we move to a more AI world. Thank you for watching and talk soon.